defining space at its beautiful best. To know this, you have to visit Muse in Adlia, and Muse is my guest in this episode of The Next Guest. Well, there's a change in format. We have two young, brilliant women joining me on the studios, Shital Vaya and Bansri Mistri. They are the women behind Muse, the beautiful space. Welcome, girls.
Thank you very much, Raji.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you so much. You know, it's so much of fun to have you with me, and I'm so happy and thrilled to introduce this way, because this is the first time ever I'm changing the format of The Next Guest. And my guest today is Muse Elements.
Yes.
Not Shital and Bansri, you know.
Yin and yang. Yes.
Yeah. So such a beautiful guest I have, because I'm still not over with the thrill of visiting Muse Elements in that cute little nestled up corner of Adlia. You've done that space so beautifully.
Thank you.
And I would say that there's no other better beautiful way than defining space so beautiful. Congratulations, both of you. Right? So today, take us through Muse, the concept. How did you strike upon this idea? And having been interacting with you for a couple of times, I know that you've been childhood friends. Take us through the journey, all right? Let me begin with you, Shital.
Muse was a dream that I've had for so many years now, since I started my career as a makeup artist. I've been freelancing for the last 10 years, and I found that as a freelancer, it was complicated figuring out, navigating the balance between business and making the right types of connections. And I conceptualized Muse, and Bansri joined me along. We came about with the idea of a space which offers a community. Mm-hmm. The community of artists that also helps you connect with business, you know?
It gives a structure, basically. Like once you enter as a freelancer, we fill in the gap where we act as a middleman, as my friend would like to say. But we give a structure for them to follow. We give them a community and like a guideline sort of a way.
Guidance.
Guidance. Mm-hmm. That we give you the backhand space of it. We give you the business part of it, like how to proceed, the development. And we give that, nudge for them.
Great. And you just said it's a dream come true.
Yes.
How old is Muse, by the way? A month?
The Muse is only a few weeks old so far.
A few weeks, isn't it? Well, I can see it's bubbling.
Thank you.
In the first few weeks itself, I could see some lovely videos on your Instagram handle, which is as lively as Muse, and you should watch it, check it out. Yeah, very colorful, guys. And the concept, me personally having visited there, I love your office, which you turned that little space into something neat and tidy, an office, which is a garage, isn't it?
Yes.
And from those tree trunk, which you said, could you take us through the nitty-gritties or the nook and corner of
I think I would like to walk you through what really Muse is.
Yes.
We are a co-working space for artists.
Yes.
We basically offer different types of spaces at different levels, and we offer different services based on the space that you subscribe to, whether it's on a monthly or weekly basis, yearly even. And we basically... The point of having a co-working space is that you don't really have to work by yourself. You have friendly faces that you come across every single day. You're constantly educating yourself. You're constantly making conversations that are inspiring to you. And something that we saw together in Bahrain is that there were plenty of co-working spaces, business centers, incubators, all of these things, but nothing to spark that creative joy.
And since it's in a villa, it sort of is like a home away from home. So that's like the basic, the most back-end thought behind it. Like we wanted a space specifically that is a villa. We did not want like a floor
commercial space. Yeah.
So it gives you that feeling of like the business part of it, the entrepreneurial vibe to it, but as well like the inspiration behind it. So that's what we went for.
Right.
Yeah.
We also have that indoor-outdoor feel,
Yes.
Which is really unique. And villas really speak to the culture of Bahrain, and it also helps to be pet-friendly.
I wanted to highlight that because that's one of the best aspects of Muse. It's pet friendly. Yes, people like me would jump with joy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we co-parent. We have Armila. We have to bring her up in every conversation that we have.
Right.
The
Yeah.
love of our lives.
Okay. Yeah. And you just mentioned about co-working space. Like, what kind of engagements? Is there any ceiling that you said, like, these are the types of engagements that you would allow, or is there anything like that, or anybody is free to walk in and take
Anybody is free as long as you have, whether it is career related that you are working creatively, or if you are just looking for a place to really just create art, Muse is the right place for you.
So my question precisely is, Shital, is it confined to art?
No, absolutely
right?
not. No. So we have just for our own guidelines, it says 70% of Muse is supposed to be for creatives, but honestly, a co-working space is beneficial to any and every person.
Right.
Every person that we come across is creative in some or the other way, right?
Well said.
So we want to bring out that aspect in them. We want to, encourage them to pursue what they have. So Muse is that inspiration for them. They can be their own muse.
All right. Yeah. Muse is co-working space is nothing new. We have co-working space, but Muse comes with a difference, isn't it? Or my question from the other side of this podcast would be, what makes Muse different? I said it's different because I've seen it to myself. Now it's for you girls to tell us what makes Muse different from the rest of the co-working space out there.
Do you want to take this one on?
Yes. So for us, Muse is like a community, right? We were raised by community. We were born into it. So we wanted to bring along that feeling that, when you come into Muse, you already have an access to our network. You already build your own network. So that helps, and moreover, you draw inspiration from each other. You have that space where you can come and interact with other budding artists. You can collaborate with them. So this space is like, as long as it's the most business side of it as well, it is the most creative space as well. So that is where, it stands out. It does not push where, it does not have to be really like structural and
Flexibility.
It has a flexibility basically.
Right.
So that's where Muse is different, and moreover we encourage budding people. We encourage like different creatives, not only just for creative, not for just like sitting and working there, but also to teach, to allow them to source into different fields. So that's how different Muse can be for different people.
Right.
Yes.
Tell us about the roles that both of you handle in Muse. Is it very specific, or just you complement each other?
We are yin and yang. Everything we do is a collective decision, whereas one thing that you pointed out to us was our interior. And a lot of people since have said that as well. That's a great example of how we work well together. Everything from the tree bookshelf to the different levels of seating that we have. Everything was a collaboration between the two of us, and also bringing in local artists. Everything at Muse it started with us, but we also branched out into supporting small businesses in Bahrain, and we really integrated the artist community through us. So it's very hard for us to show our roles because this was a collective effort.
All right.
From everybody.
How long have you known each other? I know you're childhood buddies, but anything specific?
We've known each other for...
When we were 3-4 years old.
Okay. All right.
Being my hand person.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, like holding hands and all. Like at some point we did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went through different stages, but I think as adults, when we adopted our dog is when, like I adopted her first and then she came home to meet her, and then we really realized that our styles for nurturing and, like laughing, the common interests that we have, the people that we've grown to become actually work really well together. And that's when I was, just like talking to her about my business. And she came along and now it's us together.
Right.
So
We also
our friendship has evolved.
Food? Okay.
She has to bring up food. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, so we love cooking together.
Yeah.
Okay.
We love
That is our thing.
Like coming up with ideas, like, this pairs well with this. We have to go to this restaurant and eat this.
Think the mouse
Yeah.
from Ratatouille.
Yes.
That is us together.
That's us together.
Okay.
So we love cooking together, and that's where, most of our conversations are in the kitchen.
Right.
So,
Okay.
like, we come about with ideas there, and like, try to like, experiment with and
I'm
yeah,
sure before Muse even had a name, we probably spoke about it in a kitchen
Yes.
somewhere, whether it was
Somewhere.
my house or her house or a
Yeah.
restaurant. But we actually started by opening a restaurant together,
Oh,
an
okay.
Indian restaurant together.
Is it-
And that's sort of like where our venture together started. Business on a professional level, our entrepreneurial skills developed over there, and that restaurant is our first baby.
yes.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
still have that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And what is it called?
It's
It's
called.
called Green Woodland.
Okay.
It's in Manama. So the space where, like, my dad came up with an idea, like, he really wanted to open a restaurant, and like, since come on, food is involved, both of us were there, like,
Okay.
just there. Like, we
Alright.
wanted to do something there. We wanted to help him out. We wanted to, like, venture into it together. So that's where, first we started looking into like developing a business in Bahrain. We come from business backgrounds, but then we did not know how to, like, develop into like open a new business. So that's where we started having that knowledge, I would say. And then we were like, we wanted to do something creative as well. Like, apart from the restaurant, we wanted to open a space. So that's where Muse came in, and both of us were just together by our own selves.
Right. So both of you are born and brought up in Bahrain, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell us a little more about the individuals that you're. What do you do? And your schooling. Both went to Indian school?
No,
Okay, so which school?
completely different actually. So my family moved to Bahrain before independence of India.
Yeah.
So we've been here for a very long time, and as much as I am Indian, I also feel like I am Bahraini because this is what we visualize when we think of home. But schooling and everything, I've moved around a little bit in Bahrain itself. So for the most part, I would say I am an ASBite. And then I finished my schooling in the New Millennium in NMS, which is right next to Muse and my house. That is the environment that I've blossomed in and had all of my experiences. And then where I really evolved was when I went to university in the UK.
Okay.
And that's where I found that wow, art. And my art specifically, makeup, can be a profession. So that's where I educated myself, just by shadowing other makeup artists, finding mentors for myself, experimenting a lot. And really, like, I think in order to appreciate what Bahrain has to offer, you do have to step outside. You step outside, you see what the world is like, and then you really have that appreciation for what Bahrain has to offer.
Very said. Well said. Well said. Very true indeed.
Yes.
Only when, and I think that applies to everything in life.
Definitely.
Only when you take a step back,
You see a clear picture of it.
Yeah, a recent example which I can cite is, I was trying my hands on painting after a long while, and I was not liking what I was doing. So this young guide of mine, she said, close your eyes for a few seconds. Then she took it back Then she showed it to me, and it was looking exactly the way I wanted to see it.
Yes.
So that's very true. With
one thing, when I went to makeup school, and my mentor taught me was when you can't visualize it, squint.
yeah,
And it really helps you see a vague picture, and it you stop like focusing on the nitty-gritty and the details, which is good sometimes. We do need to distance ourselves, and I think that's what Bahrain and I's relationship has been like.
Okay.
Coming back, like both of us, and reconnecting like our friendship again, was when
COVID happened.
yeah.
And then, we actually started going out to beaches together. That's how it started, actually. We loved going to different, not, common beaches. Like, we loved going there.
We're not giving away our secrets, though.
Yeah. And Bahrain
I'll
has
tell you afterwards.
many hidden gems like that.
There's so many.
I know the places that you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
So, watching sunsets there, and even sometimes going for sunrises.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it.
Winter sunrises have a different feel to them altogether. We've done so many things that helped us reconnect to Bahrain when we didn't have an option, like in a time like COVID.
Yeah.
And we just take our dog and explore, and that's where our artistic minds really blossomed, because we wanted to integrate what we were seeing in Bahrain, and we wanted to bring that all together, whether it was from our culture, so you'll see a lot of Jaroka pieces inspired by Rajasthan in Muse. You'll see a lot of cane and woven things which are sold in local markets in Bahrain. We wanted to integrate what our shared passion when it comes to art is, and bring that into the interior of Muse.
Right. Okay.
And the reception desk, I must add to it. The reception desk,
that's a good
it
one.
has 3 old doors to it, which was sourced from a very old house in Muharrak.
Okay.
They're 120 years old.
Yes. So we wanted to, she came up with that idea, why don't we use those doors as, on the reception
Windows,
table?
actually.
Yes, small windows, I'm sorry. But, beautiful ones.
And we had a local carpenter bring it all together with the colors and everything, and we incorporated that design element that is so close to us and to our backgrounds,
Right. Yeah. I can see that because I've been there.
Yes.
And I must tell, you should visit Muse. It is a piece of art in itself. Bansri, tell us about yourself.
So I was also born in Bahrain, and till my primary school I was here, I would say, till 5th grade, and then I went to a boarding school in India from 6th to 12th. And I did my graduation there as well. So I am a dentist by profession. And after that, when COVID hit, even after after graduation happened, I was kind of lost in between. I wanted to be a dentist. I wanted to give a fair chance of going out in the market, trying to be a dentist, but it did not work. It absolutely did not work. I came to Bahrain, and I visited my parents in between, obviously. And then COVID hit after my graduation. So I was here. And then, we started hanging out together. We started, sharing our passions together. And that inspired me to, channelize it into something. And then my dad came up with the idea of the restaurant. And that's how, it just... The path just came along, basically, I would say. So
I took shares in her business. She became a part of my business, and it's really a family and a community that we've grown up with, and that's the idea behind everything that we're doing up to date.
It's beautiful. I can see the chemistry. I can see the vibe, the passion, and half the success is there. And all the very best to Muse.
Thank you.
Now, coming to a genre question, maybe, the space, the co-working space, which is becoming very popular these days, I'm not sure if it is post-COVID. It was there even before.
It has been,
in the rest of the other parts of the world. Bahrain has a handful of co-working space, but what is, in your opinion, the future? How do you look at the future of co-working spaces?
The future, I would say, as long as they are flexible. as long as they have the spirit in themselves to, hold the hand of a budding entrepreneur, regardless of how creative they are or regardless of what they want to start. If it has that essence in it, then it will flourish. Like, we are trying to do that. We are also trying to, not confine it into just like a space where you just work, but also it has to be inspiring. It has to have a community. It has to have that space where they can showcase themselves. Like, as long as it's there, it's flourishing.
Right. You have to add something.
And absolutely, we as a co-working space are trying to do something that breaks the boundaries of a corporate co-working space.
Yes, absolutely.
You have no liabilities when you come into a space like this. You're still, as a startup or as an entrepreneur, you're still figuring things out.
Yes.
What direction you want to go down into, but it always starts with an idea, right?
Yes.
Coming to a co-working space, the benefit is that, and especially to a creative co-working space like us. And I think this is something that is going to be timeless, no matter how many come up. And that's why, like, our motto, and you'll see this when you come to Muse as well, is community over competition. We don't believe that competition is a healthy frame of mind to be in, whereas like when you start to collaborate, when you start to have this creative flow of ideas, that's when you make something beautiful and big and successful together.
Humans thrive in community. Like, we are raised to be in a community.
Yes.
So there was a really fun story. I'm not sure if it's a story or like an idea, but like there was a professor who asked, like, when do you think the idea of community started in human nature as predecessors of it? When did it start? So the first sign of community in human nature started when there was joining of bones, there was healing of bones.
Okay.
So the idea behind it went you have to rest and you have to take care of the other person while, there's illness or something. So that's where the idea came about. Community started with there. Humans thrive in it. So, yeah. So we believe that really in our veins.
Okay, and that's a beautiful way of connecting and bringing it to the concept of Muse.
Yes.
It's a place to be together. It's a place to lend a shoulder to one another, give a hand to another, collaboration. Yes, and that is. And I love the concept of competition. No competition, no, it's all
absolutely. And what I was coming to is that we offer the indoor, outdoor, all of that. We've spoken about the like interior and the beauty behind Muse, but we also have spaces where we host events. So we have the studio upstairs that is a multi-purpose space that podcasters like yourself, where you want to have those group gatherings that you can really just get to know each other. You get to share your art, and that doesn't have to do with work. Where we also are going to have Muse events. We just hosted a fun little game night last week. And we have a yoga workshop coming together. We're having a weaving workshop, and that's just the plans for the end of October. November, December, there's going to be so many more things. We invite collaborators to come and really share, their skill set. We encourage people who are inquisitive, who are curious, to come and ask questions over there. Where you can really educate yourself and also try your hand at something new. That is really what art is about. I can call myself a makeup artist, she can call herself a dentist, but our interests lie in so many things. Like, one other thing that connects us besides food is movies and film.
Yes.
That is, if not makeup, I probably would have been in the movie industry. I think film is such a beautiful way of depicting yourself. But
emotions.
That is what we're trying to do over here. We, because of our interests, we want to also bring in those people who have like-minded ideas and they're looking for that community. That's what we're trying to really do with our events is bring those people together, because having been in Bahrain all these years, we know it exists.
Yes.
And they might be shy, or they might feel like, such a small country, like where do you find these places? But we want Muse to be that one-stop shop, for a lack of a better word, to really like bring all those common qualities together. Whether it's events, workshops, whether somebody proposes to us that they want to hold a workshop or an event for something like this, we're open to it, because at the end of it, art is something that is so community based and connecting.
Right. Not once I could stop smiling at this conversation of joy, It can continue.
Yes.
Trust me, it is so joyful to listen to all this creativity and this passion, and I'm enjoying it. But then, every good thing has to come to a close, right?
Absolutely.
Before we close, one last question. Where do you see Muse 5 years down the lane?
Muse isn't just a co-working space. If you look into it, our full name is Muse Elements.
Elements, yeah.
Our team, Tunnel, did actually.
It's
Shout
beautiful.
out to Tunnel.
Yes.
It's a beautiful logo.
It's the combination between India and Bahrain, our cultures.
Okay.
So there's Bandhani to it, there's Kilim. Those, artistic components of our cultures integrated, and that's what our logo is.
All right. Sorry,
thank you.
I cut you in between. You were trying to tell about the elements, yeah.
So our brand is Muse. We want this artistic side of us to reflect in different industries down the line, I won't go into too much detail, but hopefully, it won't just be a co-working space. We want to help the businesses that come up with us to be a part of Muse and the brand, and hopefully that'll probably be what you see on every signboard everywhere in Bahrain. A Muse, but with something else.
Great.
Working space is just one element of it.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Well, all the very best to
Thank
Shital
you.
Vaya and
Thank you so
Bansri
much.
Mistri,
Thank you
because
so much.
I would love to see a Muse bustling with activities. I'm sure you're right
Thank you.
there, and I can see that, the good going. And it's not only from the commercial aspect, but I think that the world needs more of such space. A space without limits, a space without, prejudices or
Yes.
preconceived ideas about who you are, who am I, just to walk in and be together and
To create.
to create, to be innovative and be free, be flexible. And that's exactly what the world needs. And you've set a great example in Bahrain. And where else, Bahrain, such a beautiful country, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's been home to you and me for years. You've been born and brought up here, and I'm here for
we wouldn't
2
want
decades.
Muse to start anywhere else, honestly.
Isn't it?
This is such a great platform that Bahrain, our home, has
And I think Bahrain
provided.
is a perfect place for such a beautiful concept.
To also branch out, it's this little community that Bahrain
Yes.
is, and we're just trying to make our niche a part of it.
All the very best.
Thank you.
All the very
Thank you
best.
so
And
much. Thank you so much.
we look
Thank you for
forward to
having
see
us.
Muse rising, flourishing, and you girls enjoying, and alongside all of us.
And see you
to
there
be
more
part-
often as well.
Yes, we'll see more
The
often
next
in the
podcast
Muse.
is there.
We need to cut that.
We need to-
Well, thank you very much, Shital and Bansri. Once again, all the very best from the 973 show.
Thank you.
So, nothing more to add. All I have to tell you is go visit Muse Elements, and their Instagram takes you there straight. So, wait for the next inspiring, exciting, and entertaining guest on the next guest from the 973 show.